right now. So we're going to record and then hopefully we're going to go to full screen. All righty. And looking at the time, it's now 3 minutes after. So we're going to get started and move along into market validation training. One of the things we'd like to do is the territorial acknowledgement and indicate we respectively acknowledge the unceded traditional territories of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam nations on which VentureLabs and SFU Vancouver is located. So welcome to VentureLabs. This is an opportunity for us to talk about the partners and other groups that are part of this. So when we do market validation training, we do it in conjunction with New Ventures BC, which has its own accelerator program, Via Tech from Victoria. Hubspace from Prince George may have a company or two for us, and recent discussions indicates that Innovation Island, which is Nanaimo and north on Vancouver Island, may have a company or two that will participate. So clearly, when we say that, it means that it will be a hybrid program for the market validation. You can come in person to VentureLabs or you can be online. While we're here, just a couple of other programs we'd like to mention or at least bring to people's attentions. We have a digital marketing boost program, which will start a few weeks, and we'll come back to that in a little while. One of the key features of VentureLabs is we work with companies that are focused on raising A rounds or larger amounts of capital. And one of our companies raised or closed a round last week, and it will become public in about another month. And then one of the key things we do through some of the programs and other things is target market expansion and growth, and the go-to-market program is part of that. And eventually, we'll talk more later on about helping companies move into foreign markets. Upcoming events for people who are interested, October 3rd is the final award session for New Ventures BC. They've gone from over 200 companies down to the top 10. We'll figure out who's going to win all the awards, and that is late afternoon. I think it starts at 4 on October the 3rd. It's a great event to go to if you're interested. You get to meet all sorts of people. October the 4th, the Vantech Angel Network meets at VentureLabs. That starts at 3:30. It's the largest gathering of angel investors in the province, and it goes the first Wednesday of every month. We have market validation training, which we're going to talk about now. First session will be Monday, October 23rd. Digital marketing boost. The first session is Tuesday, October 24th. And in late October, we'll start with some preparation for going to SAS North, which is an event which is in mid-November in Ottawa. So what is market validation training? It's a core curriculum, mentorship, and coaching. And participants will have access to the executive and residences from the different partners to not just take a look at the curriculum and some of the items that we think are important for companies, but to receive expert advice from people who have been in this process and understand the markets. So here's one of the polls. Are we going to be able to do the poll now, or is it going to work? Yeah, so normally we would ask everybody, what type of company are you with? Is it B2B SaaS? Is it an internet platform, including two-sided markets? Are you a medical device company, advanced technology, including robotics, clean tech, agri-tech or cannabis, B2C software, and finally a services company? One of the things you see is that there's a whole variety of companies here. Market validation training is quite broad in terms of what it will do for everybody. Carl has put B2B SaaS in the chat. If there's others who want to give us a quick indication of what type of company they are, that would be helpful. We can take a look at them after the fact and gives us a better idea of the audience. One thing you don't see here is therapeutics and some aspects of life science. That's something we don't do in this. Or if we have a company which is in the life sciences area, we have to be sure that we will be able to match up a mentor. And fortunately, we have 2 or 3 very good life sciences mentors at VentureLabs right now. So we'll get into that and deal with it later. Okay, so Next thing is MVT is a hybrid. I mentioned this earlier. Participants are highly encouraged to attend in person, but Zoom is available for all sessions, and all sessions are also recording. So there'll be a recording if you miss something, because they are Monday, sort of just after lunch. You can watch it at your own speed and you can take care of things there. All of the slides, all of the documents, all the things that are alluded to in the sessions will be made available through a document site. And the idea is that you meet with your mentor. Most of the time it's remote, but you can meet with your mentor in person. You do so in between the sessions. So the program structure commits their company profile. There are 5 sessions, which are 2 to 2.5 hours long. It's actually 4 sessions with individualized presentations for the companies at the end. In other words, we're trying to understand what type of progress companies have made with talking to the marketplace, understanding what the stakeholders are saying, and validating their approach to the marketplace. As I said before, there's assigned mentors, and our real goal is to walk through a number of key milestones and next steps with each session, and then to follow up via the mentors in between the sessions. And our normal cadence is about 3 weeks. Here's a look at it. I think because of Remembrance Day, it's 4 weeks the first time. But the idea is that there's plenty of time for you to interact with your mentor, set up a meeting or a Zoom call. And that's the way there's time for you to go out and actually work on the things that are part of validating the market. We're interested in individual reviews and feedback between the sessions. So we have 4 workshops with all of the material. And then, as I said, there's company presentations the week of February 26th. We bring people in for a half-an-hour session and create a good audience of a couple of the mentors to review the progress that everybody's made. Normally we would do another quick poll about what stage is your company. Are you at ideation? Are you working on product development or prototyping? Are you beta testing an MVT? Or do you have a minimum viable product? And in some cases, you have early users, others it's a pilot, depending on the sector. And are there initial customers, or are you in the market with recurring revenue? And the companies that are here for the go-to-market program info session, which Jeff will present, a lot of them are in the final category, in the market with recurring revenue. And also, what are the topics that are covered? And this is for MVT, initial goal setting and the value proposition as it relates to each of the different segments. What customer discovery is required to validate? And then how do you market, target, and then analyze what the results, and then retarget, if you want to call it that. Analyzing the customer and deciding if digital marketing is important. In many cases, it's very important. And then what type of digital marketing will work there. So what is your initial go-to-market plan, the business model, lead generation, and sales process? And finally, we're going to talk a little bit about introduction to performers, and more than anything, making sure that people have the right, we'll call it unit economics. What are you going to sell, for what price, and to who? And then finally, what are the key milestones? How does it match up with your team? And how can you document everything on a business model canvas? It'll include course material, PowerPoint style, other documents that are through a document site. And the mentors will deliver most of the material. They'll also customize it. If you happen to be from Victoria, there will be meetings at the Viatech office space, guest experts and speakers. And as I said before, we have a series of mentors. Last time we did it, we had a total of 12 or 13 that were participating. And they have a whole variety of different types of expertise, so that we match up the companies with a mentor that has the right type of knowledge base for the company. So frequently asked questions for go to this market are, what's the normal stage for, not go to market, market validation training. It's really determining product market fit, or if you have a product and maybe you have a customer too, you're still not really sure if your approach to the market is correct, that's a good fit as well. Hopefully you're a little bit past concept stage. And when we say past concept stage, you've been talking to the market. You don't have to have the product in the marketplace, but you've been out collecting real live feedback. How do we interact with the mentors? As I said before, follow-up mentor sessions. And how many companies will participate? We had just over 30 in our last cohort. VentureLabs was the sponsor for approximately 20. Actually, it was more than that. It was 35. We had 6 companies from Victoria, 10 companies from New Ventures, BC, and a couple of companies from some of the smaller centers in the province. So a real mixture of groups. If we have group meetings, sometimes we'll invite people in for group meeting if it's very sector specific or small. But the idea is our ratio is each mentor will work with only 3 companies or so. Last time around, we had 1 mentor who worked with 4. And at the end, when we go through the whole program, we may refer you on to another program. It could be VentureLabs, could be New Ventures BC, could be a variety of different things. And we'll get all of that is one of the sort of concluding pieces of the market validation training program. Here's an example of some of the things we look at is at the beginning of components of a buyer persona. And we'll quite often ask companies to present. We'll say, would you mind giving us something that you've been working on? Tell us what it's like for your company. So it's like, how will you engage with a buyer? And this, it's an intelligent guide to buyer personas by Ardeth Albee. And it looks at all the different problems, the objectives, the obstacles, and then how do you communicate with them? Everything from keywords to social and media, and how do you engage? So there's a variety of different pieces. This is, as I said, just one of the slides. If we can get the polls to go, we would do a poll here. And actually, why don't we do all 3 of them one at a time? So let's start with what type of company you are, and if everybody could answer this one for us, that would really help us to understand a little bit more about the companies. And then if you want to, you can scroll down, and if you scroll down, you can see what stage is your company, where are you in terms of all the different things that you're doing, and finally, tell us about your team. And the team part here is your recent grad, starting a company in an industry where you've been in the industry before, in other words, a serial entrepreneur, taking science and technology from the lab or a university setting to commercialize it, or your experience for looking for assistance to grow your company, and other options as well. So if everybody could have a quick go at that one, that would be great. And are we still getting responses? Okay. Are you able to share the poll? So we'll try to share the poll answers for everybody to see who's a part of it. And there we go. So let's scroll up. We'll go to the first one. What type of company are you with? So we have SaaS software, a variety of different pieces like that. We don't have anybody in agri-tech or cannabis, which doesn't surprise me a lot. A little bit of B2C, and then some services company. And quite often we will get services companies which are more migrating towards having a product that complements some of the services they have. I'll scroll down to the second one. What stage is your company? So we have product development, MVP, some initial customers. There's a fair number like that. And then we have some more companies which are here for the go-to-market program, which are in the market with recurring revenue. And then tell us about your team, everything from recent grad. And it's interesting, we have a cluster in the middle, which is with industrial experience or taking science and tech from the lab, and then people with a bit of experience. So it looks like we've got a mature group for the session here today. Great. So I'm going to close that. And then I'm going to go on to, if you're going to participate in market validation training, let us know right away. We always accept the number of companies, and occasionally we'll decline a company if we feel that they're still super early and we're not able to help them. There will be some pre-readings that are circulated in advance. In the breakout sessions or during the sessions, feel free to ask questions at all times. And when in doubt, always follow up with your mentor. That's everything for market validation training, but I will mention one other program before we go to Q&A for this program, and there is a product or a program called Discovery Foundation Digital Marketing Boost. So if you are a slightly more mature company, you have your product in the market, and you just need assistance with how do I do digital marketing? In other words, it's a beginner program. Quite often it fits technical founders who have not done it before. You have the Digital Marketing Boost program, which is available. And what is it? It's a 3-month cohort program with a couple of workshops from one-on-one mentoring from marketing professionals. It's again, it's the idea that you have your chosen market. Sometimes there'll be student intern projects to help growing companies with their marketing material. And the idea here is that you'll receive support to create one deliverable. Could be a website audit, could be a product brochure. And the idea here is that there are still applications that are open. We've accepted a number of companies, but you can find all of the information for this on the VentureLabs website. And I think that's everything. What I'd like to do is I'm going to stop sharing and then just ask if people have questions. Are there any questions about market validation training? Is there anybody, I mean, have I put everybody to sleep like I'm FM radio, or what's the scenario? Is anybody got questions about how market validation training works or anything else? Okay, I think we did reasonably well with that. So I think we've got a pretty good audience here. Is Jeff a co-host? Is he able to present? I think we'll move now to the go-to-market program. Jeff, can I ask you to take over? And do you have the PowerPoint slides? Do you want to share them, or you want me to do that? You're on mute, Jeff.
Please present the slides.
Yep. Just give me a second. I'll get there. Hopefully everybody can see that. It's a program by Rocket Builders. So Jeff, if you would like to take it away and just tell me when you'd like me to advance the slides.
So the go-to-market program, we've been providing it since 2006, and we've graduated more than 200 companies. And let me explain a little bit about myself and what we're doing. So I've been a tech entrepreneur for over 35 years. I'm a former venture capitalist. I'm currently one of the leading investment bankers in the tech sector in Canada. I've led over 10 companies in sales and marketing, and 5 of the companies that I've led or founded has exited. And I've mentored over 500 tech companies over my career. So I bring a lot of experience to this issue of go-to-market. And Dave, can you advance to the part with the rocket, next one? So the go-to-market program prepares technology companies to target specific market opportunities, formalize a marketing strategy, and maximize revenue growth. Another way of saying that is go-to-market, and it's a common question that you get asked by a venture capitalist: what's your go-to-market strategy? Most companies, give a pretty simplistic answer, but it's actually a pretty sophisticated process of defining it. And I like to define go-to-market as the steps to acquiring and scaling revenue predictably. That means predictable revenue is essential for investment and sustainability of your venture. And in this program, we're aiming to provide you with all the fundamental skills to enable you to do that very successfully. Next, Dave. So keep going. So why is a program like this necessary? And that's because when a company first starts out and is landing their initial customers, they tend to have very minimal marketing. They tend to be waiting for those customers to beat a path to their door. We like to refer to it as almost like the field of dreams type of product launch, where they launch the product and then they sort of wait to see if customers find their way to them. Once you get to having a series of customers that you've have adopted your product, you begin to have more insight into the market that you're serving and what works in sales and marketing. So you need to make a transition towards more comprehensive sales and marketing planning. You start to make investments in sales and marketing, and you have to actually have a set of different lead generation and sales programs that are effective at closing deals for you. I like to think of an analogy for this. That's fine, Dave. Next. The analogy for this for me is like in sports, where for you to be successful as a company, you have to have a game plan, and you have to have a series of playbooks of different plays you can run in order to score on your opposition. In the context of this program, we're trying to help you get a reproducible way of generating more leads and get more revenue, and that you're making plans and being strategic about how you win in your marketplace over time. So we're trying to help you achieve your potential and gain better skills and processes as you go along. Next, Dave. So this program was designed quite differently than other programs, in that we provide some classroom instruction, and you get assigned homework, and then you get judged on that homework. But the interesting thing about the homework you're assigned is it's specific to your company. So rather than getting the theory of sales and marketing, you're going to apply whatever you learn directly to what your company is going to be doing. And you're going to attend this as a company and not as an individual. So there will be multiple people from each company that will participate in creating the plans in sales and marketing that are necessary to generate revenue. Next. So what do I mean by applied? Well, this applied knowledge transfer means everything you're doing is being applied to your company, so you're much more likely to understand what you're actually learning. And you will get feedback and mentoring based on the context of what your company is trying to achieve, so that to make sure that these plans are optimized for success. Next. And what's important in all this is that you actually get it, that you actually get why these concepts are important, and you'll get it in a number of different ways. You'll get it because it's being applied to your company. You're going to get it because you're going to participate in discussions with other companies and see how they are applying these concepts. And we're also going to bring in experts from the real world that'll tell you stories about how they've applied these concepts. So there's a number of different ways that you're going to help you get it so that you can be successful in applying these strategies. Next. So the program is divided in 3 parts. So we're going to help you develop a better strategy. We're going to help you build marketing plans, and then you're going to help you build sales plans. And there's 8 different key seminar/workshops that you will participate in. Plus, you'll have access to a lot of online content that goes beyond these 8 seminars and workshops. Plus, you will have interactions with mentorship and the ability to present your plans to a jury to get feedback. So it's quite an involved program that gets you towards that goal of creating a successful plan. Next. So we talk about it in terms of ready, set, go to market, and that the ready part is developing the plan. The set part is the marketing and selling. And the go to market means that when you leave this program, you have a plan that can be enacted immediately. So you hit the ground running to go and start generating revenue with partners and customers. The program has at its foundation a set of canvases. which are the program is driven by these canvases in terms of all of the modules lead you toward filling a specific part of a canvas that leads to a specific part of your plan. And that plan is articulated in a detailed PowerPoint presentation, which a jury provides feedback. So there's a series of layers that come together. And let's tell you a little bit about how successful this program has been in past. So these are a number of companies that have been very, very successful having graduated from this program. I won't go into a lot of details. I have to give a shorter, but if you want any case studies on these companies, please talk to me afterward. But what I want to go into more detail is that companies have refined their strategy. They've improved their revenue. In fact, most of the companies have more than doubled their revenue within a few years of leaving the program. We haven't measured this every year of the program, but in some years, over 60% of the graduates of the program have raised investment in the subsequent year. And we have had a number of companies that within 1 or 2 years of taking the program have been acquired by much larger companies. While we skip some of these slides, they'll look at these slides later. Dave, if you just go to the one more slide. Yeah, so a company in this program has to be what we call post-validation. That means you've had initial customers so that you know enough about your focus, your market focus, that you can start developing a plan. This program is not available to those people that are still in market validation, and it's not available to concept companies. You have to have some traction. You have to have some people actively marketing and selling your product today before you can participate in the program. Next slide, please, Dave. It's designed to support B2B and B2C companies. The majority of companies have taken in recent years have been more of B2B SaaS, just like the attendees today. But there have been a lot of very successful digital health and engineering technology companies as well. So the benefits of the program in summary: you gain knowledge in modern sales and marketing methods. You produce and validate a marketing plan that will drive revenue growth. You will find a strategy to improve customer targeting. You will improve ability to generate leads. You will reduce your sales cycle time, and you will attract investment. So the program runs over a 5-month period. And there are 3 jury presentations, and it's scheduled to begin October 18th. And like I said, there's 8 seminars and workshops in addition to those 3 jury presentations. To participate, the next slide, Dave, is that you have to contact your ITA in order to participate in the program. And if you have any questions, you can approach Dave Thomas or myself about the program, or we're happy to introduce you to past graduates of the program to get sort of a testimonial firsthand.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. I think that's everything. Eric Cass is with NRC IRAP. He's the sponsor of the go-to-market program. And Eric just put a comment in the chat for anybody who'd like further information. I think we already have over 10 applicants for the program this year. But if this is of interest to somebody who has not already applied, the key thing is to talk to your NRC IRAP ITA, because it is sponsored by IRAP, and it's one of the programs that they offer across Western Canada. So I'm going to stop sharing that one. And are there any questions for Jeff or any questions for anyone else? Okay. This question from Sean. Let me just see here. Can you elaborate a little on the right size company for the go-to-market program, revenue, team size? I can take that one, Jeff, or do you want to speak to it? You're on mute. You're still on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think to Sean's question, the idea there is normally a company that fits really well is around 500,000 to a couple million in revenue. And what that really equals is significant customer experience because you're rewriting your marketing plan from the one you had a couple of years before when you're getting started. And one of the key components is, as Jeff said, it's per company, and actually market validation training is per company. So quite often we'll have two or maybe even three people from a company attend. So the size of the company in terms of employees isn't as important as saying who is really devoted to making sure that you succeed in the marketplace, who is responsible for customer acquisition and signing deals and doing the marketing as well as maybe some of the sales components and stuff. I hope that answers.
The bare minimum of attendees should be the CEO plus one salesperson or one marketing person. If you don't have a dedicated sales or marketing person, it'll be difficult to have the resources to complete the program.
And sometimes the CEO doesn't come all the time, but it's the idea is that there's a group that deals with it, and the CEO is part of the mix. Sean's question is about this sales accelerator program from New Ventures BC. So this program that New Ventures BC runs is a little earlier stage. This is go-to-market is definitely later stage, and there's actually another NRC IRAP sales program, which is more sales coaching, which is later than the New Ventures BC sales accelerator program as well. So I would say that the New Ventures BC one is earlier stage than the program we're talking about right now. There was a question about the timeline, and I think Eric's put it in the chat. It starts on October 18th, which is I think about 3 weeks from now. And the idea is that we start with workshops, which are obviously all recorded if you miss one. And they start on the 18th, and it's a Wednesday, and the time slot is 1 until 2:30 plus a bit of discussion. Got any other questions? Okay. So I think what we'll do is we'll just, from Carl, yes, times are in Pacific. That's correct. It is the time is the West Coast time. Alrighty. What I'll do now is just want to take another 5 to 10 minutes and discuss one other program which is coming into the marketplace across Canada. And it's a program that is of interest or should be of interest to many of the companies that are in the tech sector. And it's a program called Accelerate IP. And it is, let's just get this to expand a little bit. So it is, it's Accelerate IP. It's part of a nationwide initiative to help companies secure their intellectual property, protect it, and do a whole series of different things. So New Ventures BC is the lead organization for this. So Innovate BC is involved as well. VentureLabs is one of the delivery partners and a collaborator. So if you look at the different parts of the program, why is IP strategy important? There's a second program which is run by IRAP called IP Assist. VentureLabs is also a delivery partner for that program. We worked with a number of companies earlier this year, and 95% of participants are interested in more substantive IP support, and 95% found the program valuable. In other words, assistance from specialists, in this case, a lot of them are law firms in IP, is really worthwhile for early stage tech companies. Some of the quotes were, I find it was very helpful to understand the basics of IP protection. And also the second part is, especially if you're going to operate with partners, operate internationally, is how do I secure your IP so that you're confident you can go into a market and feel that your IP will be respected and adhered to. So Accelerate IP has got three portions to it. There's awareness, there's some workshops and seminars, then there's individual strategy sessions or mentorship with from law firms. So some of the companies we work with here in BC include BLG, Hoy & Wiggs, Faskins, Gowlings, Macmillan. There's a whole host of high quality law firms. And it also includes support for implementation or legal supports. I think the next, each of the sessions, when you look at it, foundational content, there's a train the trainer program they're just rolling out now. So there are people that you can make an appointment with to sit down and learn more about what would be the best course of action for your company. Second part is there's mentorship and support. In part one, which is the education, it's free. In the call it the strategy section, it's one-to-one mentorship, and quite often you will work with a patent agent or with a law firm of your choice, or one that will refer if you don't have one. And in this case, up to $25,000 is subsidized for 75% for your company, or if it's an Indigenous founder company, it's a 90% subsidy. So the government will pay the law firm directly. You don't need to reclaim the money later. So this is a very good program for helping companies develop strategy, and it only really costs you 25 cents on the dollar. And it's even more impressive for implementation, and this is up to 60% subsidy, again with the 75% or 90% support percentages. And it's run by the government, and this will allow companies to get a subsidy for filing a patent, for trademarking, for copywriting, for deciding on freedom to operate, and a few other things that are like that. It does not support things like signing contracts and stuff, but it allows you to really understand your IP. And it's not just inside Canada, it could be filing a patent in the United States or in other foreign jurisdictions around the world. So it's a very strong program for helping companies as they grow and as they expand. So it's a competitive selection process. And it, as I said, is run across the province. The millions of dollars are allocated to companies in BC, so it's a worthwhile program. There's a whole series of delivery partners. If you're not from BC and you're from Alberta, there's another list, or from other part of the country, there's a list in every province. As you can see, VentureLabs is one of the delivery partners. Information and key contacts are at VentureLabs. The person who runs this program is Ryan Cross. I'm pinch hitting for him today. He also does a lot of work with international trade delegations, and he's not available at the moment. Further information on the whole program is available through the New Ventures BC website. And if you actually want to register, you can actually register to say, I want to participate right now. And that's the link to register your company to participate. They will ask you for a lot of company info. This is a federal government program, and they track companies. So you'll probably need to have some of the information about incorporation and a variety of other different things. And if you do decide to go and register, it'll ask you which accelerator you want to work with. If you're a VentureLabs client, then obviously that's a natural fit. And you can also, just to learn more about it, join the mailing list for updates at New Ventures BC. And we will be running events which are sort of broader based with information at VentureLabs later this fall in Q4 and also into Q1 of next year. So again, I think that's the last slide we have. I'm going to stop sharing. Are there any questions about Accelerate IP? Is there anything that people are, I think some of you may have heard about it before. How many people have not heard about it before? This is the first time they've heard about it. Only got 2 people with their cameras turned on, so you could answer in the chat if you want. But it is a very worthwhile program for companies, and would really like to suggest to everybody who's online that even if it's in the future for you, that you at least research and understand what is part of the program. So are there any questions about everything we've done today? A good question from Sean again, IP Assist. So what's interesting is IP Assist from IRAP is similar to the first 2 stages of Accelerate IP. So you could do IP Assist stage 1, then IP Assist stage 2. And then you could go to accelerate IP for stage 3. So they're, Sean, you're right, they're very similar and there's a bit of overlap. There's even a third provincial-based program. So it's very clear that governments in Canada are interested in companies going into export markets and growing, and they're putting some money into securing everybody's IP and helping you doing that. Anything else? Other questions? I think what we'll do is, in Alberta, if you go to Alberta Innovates, and I know Innovate Calgary, and there's another group in Edmonton, which have this, you can figure out who is running the programs right away. And I know IP Assist with NRC IRAP have been securing law firms to work with companies. So the programs are very active in Alberta. And I think you're, Satya, I think if you, I would check with, yeah, just check with the folks at Innovate Calgary and also Alberta Innovates. Question from a participant: this funding can be used for U.S. patents. Any basic eligibility requirements? So what you do is you apply and say, I'm interested in doing this, and there's actually going to be a committee that they're setting up that looks to make sure that everything's reasonable. So you, for example, you must be a company in order to access this part. If it's something that you know, every once in a while you get someone who has designed something and they like to create patents but don't do anything with it. If you're a company that has got a really good reason for expanding into the United States, for example, you're far more likely to be supported than someone who's just doing it as a pastime. So if you have questions for later, you should call or email. Tell you what I'll do is I will put my VentureLabs email in the chat. And if you or anybody else, or in this case, Jan has questions, or if anybody else has, you can get a hold of me through this email address. And I think we can answer questions that way. Is there anything else that you would suggest?
One more question about any accelerators on the list.
Yeah, so question is, this is a nationwide program. So there are accelerators in Saskatchewan for sure. Again, we have Innovate BC and New Ventures BC is the lead organizations. I don't know who it is in Saskatchewan, but if you do a bit of Googling, you should be able to figure it out very rapidly. Okay. So question here, do you have to be an SFU student? Not at all. All these programs are open to anybody. So they're open to companies for wherever. Last time we did market validation training, we had companies from the Sunshine Coast, from Squamish, from all over the place. Again, market validation training is open to anybody in BC. We've had companies that have come from other parts of the country, especially as it's hybrid, it's easy to accommodate them. Go-to-market is across the prairies as well as British Columbia, so all the way from Manitoba west. People who are interested in applying to VentureLabs, I think Floyd has already answered that a little bit. There's an early stage incubator at SFU called Venture Connection, and they work with early stage companies. VentureLabs is a little bit later stage. So if you're from SFU, Venture Connection may be more appropriate, but we can easily help you figure out which one is going to work best. And I think Grace has put a link in for, or Jenna might have, for the application for market validation training. And if anybody's interested, we'd be more than interested to hear from you. We are going to start accepting companies pretty quickly because it helps us to line up the mentors and make sure we've got everybody who's there. So I think Floyd has got his camera on. Floyd Simons is one of the mentors who delivers the market validation training a whole bunch. Floyd, is there anything you'd like to add, or is there anything I've missed? Is there any comments that you'd like to make?
Not a lot, other than perhaps I've lived in several countries all over the world, and I find that the supporting stuff that you can get here in BC and Canada is pretty great. And a lot of it is also funded from external sources, meaning you don't have to get involved. So take advantage of some of those resources. And yeah, particularly surrounding market validation training or some of that early work. It's one of the most critical things that has an impact on success of your company. Most companies fail because they have no product market fit. And market validation and customer discovery is your path to figuring that out before you're already sort of neck deep and spend a whole lot of time and money on it, basically. So highly recommend.
Great. Thank you very much, Floyd. Folks, unless there's any additional questions, it's 10 to 1, and we've taken up most of your lunch hour. So I think we'll stop the recording, and then we'll stay on if people want to ask